जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रीला प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रीला प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रीला प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा श्रीला गुरुदेवा कि बजयो जयो गौरचंदेर आरती के शोभा 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 जानावी तातावाने जग मन लोबा मान लो बाकी बदाखी नैनी ताए चांद बामे गदाधारा दाखी नैनी ताए चांद बामे गदाधारा कि बदाखी नैनीताय चांद बामे गदाधारा ताकी नैनीताय चांद बामे गदाधारा निकाते अद्वैदाश्रीनी वास छत्रधारा निकाते अद्वैदासिनी वास छत्रधारा कि बबोशी याचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने बोशी याचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने कि बबोशी याचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने बोशी याचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने आरती कोरे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने साउंड नहीं आ रहा है यू टू प्ले हार्डर ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने की बनरी आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया नररी आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया कि बनर हरि आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया नर हरि आदि कोरी बुलाया संजया मुकुंद बाशु घोष आदि गाया संजया मुकुंद बाशु घोष आदि गाया कि बशंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला कि बशंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शंका घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला माधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला माधुर मृदंगा बाजे हो शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे हो शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर हो माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बा हो शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे हो माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे हो गौरंगेरा रतिक शोभा जग जनमाना लोभा गेरा रतिक शोभा जग जनमाना लोभा गौरंगेरा रतिक शोभा जग जनमाना लोभा हो जग जन मान लोभा जग जन मान हो जग जन मान लोभा जग जन मान हो जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय हो जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय हो जय गौराचंदेर जय गौराचंदेर जय गौराचंदेर जय गौराचंदेर हो जय गौराचंदेर 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 जय गौराचंदेर Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Kiba bahu koti chandra jini vadana ujvala. Bahu koti chandra jini vadana ujvala. Kiba bahu koti chandra jini vadana ujvala. Bahu koti chandra jini vadana ujvala. Gala de se banamala कोरे जलमाला गला दे से बना. किबा शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा. शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा. किबा शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा. सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा. भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरा रसंपादा. 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 कि बजयो जयो गौरचंदेर आरती के शोभा. जयो जयो गौरचंदेर आरती के शोभा. जानावी तातावाने जग मन लोभा. जानावी तातावाने जग मन लोभा. जानावी तातावाने जग मन लो. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांता स्वामीति नामिने. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांता स्वामीति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चादेशतारिणे. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे हरिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चादेशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री वेद गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे बोलो बोलो हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे बोलो बोलो हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हो हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हो हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 हो हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल जय राधा नील माधव श्री राधे राधा नील माधव श्री राधे ओ जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे एवरीवन प्लीज बाउ डाउन जय ओम विष्णुपदा परहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य श्रोता श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन के शिला ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपदा परहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य श्रोता श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड गौरंगा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू शिला प्रभुपाद की नरसिंहाय प्रहलाद लाद दायिने प्रहलाद लाद दायिने हिरण्यकशिपोर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कानकालाय ईतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यमिततो नरसिंह बहिर्नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंह आदिम शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलावरे नकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलावरे नकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज। हो जय जगन्नाथा, जय बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा माँ, जय सुदर्शन चक्र। ओ जय सीताराम, जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान, जय सीताराम, जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान। हो जय प्रभुपदा, जय गुरुदेवा, जय प्रभुपदा श्रीला गुरुदेवा। ओ निताय गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि बोल। जय श्री विघ्नहर्ता नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की। बोल प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णवस्ताय भूतलेश भक्ति वेदांत समिति। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेषण भाषितारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवाय कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणं कृष्णदामोदरं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवाय गोविन्द हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवाय कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवाय
हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 बोलो हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So, there should be some Ishopanishads here, so everyone can have one. Sure. Just to follow the lecture today. I don't know where they are. So today we're going to begin to study the Ishopanishads. And this is a very important book. There are many Upanishads, but this is the most important one. Ishopanishad. So it brings you closer to Krishna. That's the meaning of Isho Upanishad. Upanisha, to come closer to God. Yeah. So everyone, he has to find them. So we're beginning the introduction, which says the teachings of the Vedas. And it says, ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teachings of the Vedas. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. So everyone can follow this. The whole Vedic knowledge is summarized in this very short book. So that's it. Prabhu, you forgot. Mataji. You got it? Oh, okay. No, that's all right. Give her one. Yeah, we want everyone to follow this. And I think Ramdas is going to come also tonight. Here he is, famous Ramdas. Hari Bol Ramdas, Hare Krishna. This is our wonderful cow. Hari Bol. Yeah, we love Ramdas. He's a devotee. Okay, so now we're in the introduction to the Ishopanishad. Upanisha means you come closer to Krishna by reading this book. So it says, ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teachings of the Vedas. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. For the teachings of the Vedas are the original knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subjected to many deficiencies. The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects. The first defect is that he must commit mistakes. For example, in our country, Mahatma Gandhi was considered to be a very great personality, but he committed many mistakes. Even at the last stage of his life, his assistant warned, Mahatma Gandhi, don't go to the New Delhi meeting. I have some friends, and I have heard there is danger. But he did not hear. He persisted in going and was killed. Even great personalities like Mahatma Gandhi, President Kennedy, and of course others, there are so many of them, make mistakes. To err is human. This is one defect of the conditioned soul. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Another defect, to be illusioned. Illusion means to accept something which is not, or Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self. If I ask you what you are, you will say, I am Mr. John, I am a rich man, I am this, I am that. All these are bodily identifications, but you are not this body. This is illusion. So this is the first thing that we have to learn if we want to have a spiritual life. That is not to identify with the body, but to identify rather with the soul that's in the body. We do not have, we cannot say I am this body because the body is always changing. I could ask you, which body you're talking about? The one when you were born, the one when you were 3 years old, or 10 years old, or 25 years old, or 50 years old. So you cannot say, I am this body, because it's constantly changing. However, you can say, I am the soul, and the soul is the, and from the soul is coming the consciousness. So I am the consciousness in this body. That's who I am. So, therefore, if we begin by identifying with the body and not with the soul, that means we've made a major mistake, and every decision we make in our life will be wrong. Every decision. Why? And you can see, like for example, people that identify with the body, right away they inherit friends and enemies. Just like if you're a Pakistani, you will immediately inherit friends and enemies. You might think that the Pakistanis are your friends and the Indians are your enemies. So in this way, by identifying with the body, we develop friends and enemies, and we cannot have a real, let's say, spiritual life by identifying with the body, because we'll be identifying with something that we are not. The body is constantly changing. Therefore, we must recognize that I'm the soul that's enveloped by this body, and my soul is eternal, and the body is temporary. So that means, and it's always changing. So I cannot say I am the body. I am the soul, that's the source of consciousness. That's who I am. So if you say I'm the body, then I might be an Indian, or I might be an American, or I might be Chinese, whatever. And as soon as I identify with the body, I have friends and enemies. So the beginning of spiritual life is to identify with the soul and not the body. At that point, we're ready to receive spiritual knowledge. If we identify with the body, whatever spiritual knowledge we have will be tainted, will be falsified. So it says, every living entity has four fundamental defects. And the first one is that the example of Mahatma Gandhi, we make mistakes. Okay. Another defect is to be illusioned. Illusion means to accept something which is not, or Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self. If I ask you what you are, you will say, I am Mr. John, I am a rich man, I am this, I am that. All these are bodily identifications, but you are not this body. This is illusion. So as soon as we identify with the body, every decision we make will be wrong. Because right from the beginning, we're accepting something that we're not. Just like one time, I had a friend of mine who was a Muslim, and he one day I met him, and he had a friend with him who had just come from Turkey, and my friend, my Muslim friend, who's also Turkish, he introduced me to him, and he said, this is my good friend, Harry. He is an Armenian. And right away, his friend said, Dushman. Dushman means enemy, because the Armenians and the Turks, they've been fighting each other for years, many, for centuries. So, without knowing who I am, as soon as he said that, the man said, Dushman, it's enemy. You see, this is what happens when you identify with the body. As soon as you identify with the body, right away you have friends and enemies. See? But if you identify with your soul is not Indian, your soul is not American, your soul is not big, your soul is not small. Your soul is eternal, and you have an eternal relationship with Krishna because the soul is part and parcel of Krishna. In other words, we all come from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you want to identify yourself, you can identify yourself as the part and parcel of Krishna, because we come originally from Krishna. You have to go back to the real origin. And because we don't identify with the body, we identify with the soul, then we are eternal. Nobody actually dies. The only thing that dies is the material body. And you have two aspects of the body. You have the gross body and the subtle body. The gross body is made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And the subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So you have two levels of body covering the soul. When your gross body dies, your subtle body does not die. And your subtle body is the subtotal of all your experiences in life and in previous lives also. And based on those and your experiences in life, you will get another body, which will either be material and subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease, or you'll get a spiritual body and go back to Godhead. The science of Krishna consciousness teaches us how to go back to Godhead and stop this whole process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Anyone who asks the question, why am I subject to birth, old age, disease, and death, is an intelligent person. That's the most fundamental question we should ask ourselves. I don't want to get old. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. I don't want to take birth again and go over that same process of birth, death, old age, and disease. Therefore, why is this happening to me? We have to ask that question. If we don't ask that question, then we're basically in a state of illusion. And because we're in a state of illusion, we will stay in that vicious cycle of birth, growth, death, let's say birth, death, old age, disease, and so forth. We'll stay in that horrible, let's say, decision that we did not choose to be, did not choose to have. I mean, any of you remember choosing to be born? Do you remember, are you choosing to get old? Are you choosing to get sick? Are you choosing to die? So you have to ask the question, why is this happening to me? I didn't choose to be born. I don't want to die, but I'm being forced. Now the question is, if I'm being forced, what does that mean exactly? That means that I must have made some mistakes. And now I'm suffering for those mistakes. Now, most people can't even imagine that they have made mistakes, and because of those mistakes, they're suffering birth, death, old age, and disease. But that is the reality. Now, you have to say, okay, look, I can't remember my previous life. Even in this life, I've relatively had a good life, but then some things happen to me. Sometimes they're car accidents. Sometimes I might have cancer. Sometimes they're accidents. I don't know what my karma is until it actually happens. But I can tell from different things that have happened to me in my life that I probably have bad karma. Yeah. So then, is there any solution for this? The answer is yes. It's called Krishna consciousness. If you become conscious of Krishna, who's in your heart as Paramahatma, if you become conscious of your soul, who's also in your heart, That's who you actually are. You're not the heart, you're not the liver, you're not the brain, you are a soul. And the soul is covered by two levels, a gross level of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and a subtle covering of mind, intelligence, and ego. So unless we become purified of the influence of the gross body and the subtle body, we remain prisoners. And at the moment of death, we will not be able to remember Krishna, and then we'll have to get another body. Now, that other body is not necessarily going to be human body. Why? Because it depends on what we do and what we're thinking of at the point of death. So there's two criterions: what we've done in our life and what we're thinking of at the moment of death. So if you're thinking of your 401k, you're going to take birth again, most probably like a cockroach or an ant or something like that, because that's the consciousness that you've developed over the years by avoiding Krishna consciousness and just engaging in making money and spending it and eating this and eating that. But if you are fortunate enough to meet genuine sadhus, and they begin to explain these things, and what are they explaining? The genuine sadhu will explain to you how to liberate yourself from the cycle of birth and death. That's a real problem in life: birth, old age, disease, and death. Those are the four major problems everybody has. It's not because of Trump or because of this man or that person. No, it's because of birth, old age, disease, and death. These are our real problems. Now, is there a solution to this? Well, most people, ignorant people, say, no, there's no solution to it. So you may as well just accept it and try and enjoy as much as you can in this life. You only live once, and then when you die, everything is over. That is false. It's not true. But 99%, almost 100% of people believe that you only live once, and when you die, there's nothing. That means that they have no knowledge at all about reality. They have no knowledge of the existence of the eternal soul. And because of that, they're going to unnecessarily suffer in life, and they're just going to be caught in this vicious cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So, what is real knowledge? Real knowledge is how to free yourself from the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. Is there any institution, like university, teaching you how to be free from birth, death, old age, and disease? What do you say? What do you say, sir? Is there any university teaching this? How to be free of birth, death, old age, and disease? No, they don't teach. They're teaching you materialistic things, how to make more money through the internet or through this thing or that thing. They're not teaching anything that's really substantively important in your life, because your real problems in life are birth, old age, disease, and death. So Isha Upanishad says here, another defect is to be illusioned. Illusion means to accept something which is not, or Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self. If I ask you what you are, you will say, I am Mr. John, I am a rich man, I am this, I am that. All these are bodily identifications, but you are not this body. This is illusion. You see? This is very important. Isha Upanishad means it's bringing you closer to God. And how do you come? When you become closer to God, you have to recognize the fact that I'm not this body. I'm the soul that's animating the body with consciousness. And therefore, unless I do something for my soul, I'm going to be ignorant. Doesn't matter whether you're very rich or you're very intelligent or you're very powerful in this way or that way. You are an illusion. Illusion means you accept something that is not true. The number one thing that everyone accepts that is not true is, I am this body, you see. And everybody thinks like that. I am this body. This body was born in India, or this body was born in America. But which body are you talking about? The one you had in the womb of your mother, the one that came out of the womb of your mother, the one you had when you were 3 years old, or 10 years old, or 30 years old, or 50 years old. You see, you cannot say, I am this body. I could ask you the question, which body are you talking about? Okay. So we have to think very seriously about this. Number one thing that people are trying to do in life is to identify who they are and what they're supposed to do in life. Many people have this confusion about what should I be doing? Is this the right thing that I'm doing in my life? Is this the right diet that I have? Is this the right place I'm living? Is this, and who am I exactly? You see, people have many different, let's say, places that they live, and very different concepts of what they are, who they are, and how they should be living, etc. So, the search, fundamental search: who am I, and what is my real purpose in life, and what is the real goal of life? These questions can only be answered through Ishopanishad or Bhagavad Gita. They cannot be answered through PhDs and so-called philosophers. Actually, I call them fool-losophers. They're fools because they're making their own speculations and passing it off as knowledge. Real knowledge is to understand your relationship with Krishna. We all can only identify who we are in relationship to someone else. And if we choose to identify ourselves in relationship with Krishna, we made the right decision. What is the relationship with Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am part and parcel of Krishna and the eternal servant of the Lord. And my purpose in life is to glorify the Lord and always be engaged in service of the Lord. Now, we're all engaged in service right now. Every one of us is serving something or someone. But when we decide to serve Krishna, now we have made the right decision, because our service to other people is temporary, but our service to Krishna is eternal. And if we make the decision to serve Krishna, we are on the fast track to go back to Godhead and experience eternality. Now, we are all eternal, but as long as we identify with the body, we keep taking repeated birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. And that's a vicious cycle, and there's no guarantee every time we die that we'll get a human body, because there's 8,400,000 possibilities. There's, for example, you could be born a cockroach, you could be born a bird, you could be born an elephant. There's so many possibilities based on our karma and our consciousness. These are the two things. What you think of at the moment of death and what you have done during this lifetime. So, if you've done all nonsense things during this lifetime, and at the moment of death you're thinking of your 401k, you're in big trouble. Big trouble. you're not going to get a human body in the next life. But throughout your life, if you've always been thinking of Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and engaging in seva, service to please Krishna, you will most probably think of Krishna at the moment of death and go back to Godhead. But if you're thinking of your 401k, if you're thinking about, what's my wife going to do? What are my kids going to do? My kids are fighting each other for, my assets, this thing, that thing, It's terrible to die like that, thinking of what the kids are going to do, what your wife is going to do. It's terrible. But if you're Krishna conscious and you've taught your children to have a spiritual life, now this is an important question. Let me ask a question. What do you think is the most important thing for the education of your child? What do you think? You want your child to be a doctor, a lawyer? Lawyers are liars anyway. So you see, what do you want your child to grow up to be? So most people would say, well, I want my child to go to Harvard or this college or that college and get this job or that job. Those are the wrong, let's say, answers. One time I was talking to one of my kids, because I have, 6 kids, and I told him, look, if you're an honest person and you don't commit any sinful acts are meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication, and you follow the principles of Dharma. Dharma means how to act based on the instructions of Krishna. The entire Bhagavad Gita are instructions by Krishna how to live properly. So I said, if you live a dharmic life, you'll be a success in life. And if you just live a life to make a lot of money, spend it, and engage in sense gratification, you'll be a failure. Because at the moment of death, you will not be able to think about Krishna. You'll just think about your money or all the sex you had or this or that. By the way, at the moment of death, whatever you did in life will flash in front of your mind. And if most of it was nonsense and sense gratification, that's what you're going to see, and that's what you're going to be in the next life, you see. So an intelligent person will say, wait a minute, I should not be watching television. I should not be going to the movies. I should not be eating meat. I should not be engaged in illicit sex. Because if I keep doing those things over and over again, I'm not going to think of God at the moment of death. I'm going to think of all these other things that I did. Because at the moment of death, all these things are going to flash through your mind very quickly, you see. So we have to think about what is success. Success is preparing for death. Death can be the most important moment in your life because you become freed from the material body if you're thinking of Krishna. And if you're not thinking of Krishna, then it's the worst moment of your life because you have to take birth again. So we should think about this. What is my ultimate goal in life? My ultimate goal in life should be to develop love for Radha and Krishna. And how do you do that? You associate with people who have love for Radha and Krishna. And you hear about Radharani and Krishna. And you engage in the service of Radha and Krishna. And you glorify Radha and Krishna with choice prayers. And you surrender your thoughts, your actions, everything for Radha and Krishna. This was the original culture of Bharat. And because of that, so many people were liberated in the past. They went back to Godhead. But it seems that today, people have become Englishmen, or people who are interested in just making money and spending the money, and eating this, eating that. I'm really surprised at how many Indians have started eating meat. A lot of Indians, they say, well, when I was in India, I didn't eat meat. But I came to America and I saw that all the rich guys, they're all eating meat. So then I thought maybe I should eat meat also. You see, so we should not be duped by the rich guys who eat meat and have millions and billions of dollars. We should feel sorry for them, because if that's all they're doing, in their next life they're going to be worms or cockroaches or something like that, because they're committing tremendous amount of sins. But we should be very concerned about living a sinless life, not a sinful life. What is a sinful life? Meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, always, watching television or doing this or doing that for sense gratification. But actually, as a human being, we're not meant to do those things. As a human being, we're meant to cultivate our relationship with God, because that's what differentiates us from an animal. What does an animal do? Animal eats, sleeps, mates, and defends. What differentiates a human being from an animal? The human being also eats, sleeps, mates, and defends, but has a chance to understand their relationship with God. If they don't try to understand their relationship with God, they're a two-legged animal. There are four-legged animals, like our Ramdas here. He's a four-legged animal. And those people who don't try to understand their relationship with God, they're two-legged animals. But when you understand that the difference between an animal and a human being is that the human being can understand the relationship with God, and the animal cannot. So we should take this seriously and not waste 1 second, because even 1 second wasted is a great, great loss in your life. Every second should be used to try to come closer and closer to Krishna. So here in Ishopanishad, it says, another defect is to be illusioned. So the first one is one makes mistakes. The second problem is that we can be easily illusioned. The third is that we have imperfect senses, and the fourth is that we have a cheating propensity. So the second one, another defect is to be illusioned. Illusion means to accept something which is not. Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self. If I asked you what you are, you will say, I am Mr. John, I am a rich man, I am this, I am that. All these are bodily identifications, but you are not this body. This is illusion. The third defect, in other words, there's 4 major defects that all of us have. The third defect is the cheating propensity. Everyone has a propensity to cheat others. Although a person is fool, number 1, he or she poses himself as very intelligent. Although it is already pointed out that he is an illusion and makes mistakes, he will theorize. I think this is this. This is this. This is that. But he does not even know his own position. He writes books of philosophy, although he is defective. That is his disease. That is cheating. Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We are very proud of our eyes. Often someone will challenge, can you show me God? But do you have the eyes to see God? You will never see if you haven't the eyes. If immediately the room becomes dark, you cannot even see your hands. So what power do you have to see? We cannot, therefore, expect knowledge, or Veda. Veda means knowledge. We cannot expect knowledge with these imperfect senses, with all these deficiencies in conditioned life. We cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone, nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are. You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. Our real identification is Varna Ashrama. Varna Ashrama denotes the followers of the Vedas, those who accept the human society in 8 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. There are 4 divisions of society and 4 divisions of spiritual life. This is called Varna Ashrama. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4:13. These divisions are everywhere because they are created by God. The divisions of society are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Brahmanas refers to the very intelligent class of men, those who know what is Brahman. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, the administrator group, are the next intelligent class of men. Then the Vaishyas, the mercantile group. These natural classifications are found everywhere. This is the Vedic principle, and we accept it. Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth, for they cannot be any mistake. Now, this word axiomatic is very important. It means that it's self-evident. Just like it's self-evident that every one of us has a mother and father. You can say, well, no, that's not true. My father died. But he still had the father, though. You say. So it's self-evident truth. Every one of us was born. Every one of us is going to get old. Every one of us is going to die. These are self-evident truths. You can't argue against them. See? So the Vedas themselves are all self-evident truths. And if we take that seriously, we can save a lot of problems in our life. That is, take what seriously? The Vedic knowledge. What is the Vedic knowledge? It's Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is probably the most profound book in the whole history of the world, because it's God, or Krishna, explaining who he is to Arjuna. And Arjuna is asking many questions to try and figure out who Krishna is, and Krishna is answering all his questions. So if you want to know who Krishna is, if you want to know who God is, you must read Bhagavad Gita. Right? And Ishopanishad also helps you tremendously, because it has the basic knowledge of Vedic knowledge, and it's a short book. But Bhagavad Gita is more, let's say, full of knowledge, and not full, more elaboration. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme, let's say, elaboration of the same knowledge. So it's very rare for people to come in contact with the Vedas. Now you might say, well, I was born in India and, we know the Vedas. No, you don't know the Vedas. I'll tell you right now, you don't know the Vedas. If you know the Vedas, just like I meet many people sometimes, and they show me their thread. I'm a Brahmin. And I say, well, what do you do for a living? I work for Microsoft. That means you're not a Brahmin. Brahmins do not work for Microsoft. Brahmins are not laborers. Brahmins are people who are engaged completely in spiritual life. It doesn't matter you were born in a Brahmin family, you see. So someone can say, I might ask someone, well, what do you do? So, I'm a doctor. I said, really? You have a doctor's degree? No. So how come you're a doctor? Well, my father's a doctor. That doesn't make you a doctor. Just because your father's a doctor doesn't mean you're a doctor, right? So in the same way, your father might be a brahmana, but unless he's qualified, you don't. The son of the brahmana doesn't become a brahmana by birth. He has to earn it by education and so forth. So today, people like to rubber stamp themselves, but rubber stamping does not make them into something. You have to actually have the qualities. What are the qualities? Submissiveness, self-control, and very educated in Vedic knowledge, and so forth. You know, there's a way to identify a Brahmana. He spends almost all his time with Vedic knowledge. He's not interested in making a lot of money. What he's interested in is assimilating the Vedic knowledge and giving it to others. And living a very simple life, a life based on minimalist life, not eating too much, not being exorbitantly dressed or trying to earn a lot of money. Brahmanas are not real Brahmanas are not interested in making a lot of money. They're interested in living a very, very simple life, or in other words, you could say a life of knowledge, but not of sense gratification. So, when you have a life of knowledge and don't engage in sense gratification, then you're able to instruct people in a meaningful way. They can tell if someone is a vishayi, a sense gratifier, just like a brahmana. If the brahmana has, gold necklaces and a BMW and is going to, having a lot of expensive extravagancies and so forth, they're not really a brahmana. Brahmanas live very simple lives, very, very simple lives. Even if they receive a lot of money, they give it away. They give most of it away to help people. Why? Because money is a useful thing, but if you're too attached to it, it's like a curse. So it should only be used, especially if you're a brahmana, it should only be used in spreading Krishna consciousness, not in aggrandizing material things and living lavishly. So this desire to have a minimalist life is one aspect of being a genuine brahmana or a genuine devotee. Devotees do not have lavish lives. They do not have a lot of possessions. They're not poor. They're rich in knowledge. You see, there's different parameters for what means if a person is successful. One parameter is the one that's usually very prevalent, is the person rich? But in the case of brahmanas, just like in traditional times, when two people met each other, they would say, how are your efforts going to free yourself from the cycle of birth and death? That's the way they would say hello to each other. Because that's the fundamental question of life. Are you doing anything to free yourself from the cycle of birth and death? It's not, how are you doing? So, I'm doing okay. my 401k is getting bigger, and my kids are going to Harvard, and my wife and I are going to go on a vacation. That's not success. Success is that you can think of Krishna all of your life, and the moment of death, remembering Krishna, go back to Godhead. So here, Ishopanishad is saying, the third defect is the cheating propensity. Everyone has the propensity to cheat others. Although a person is fool number one, he poses himself as very intelligent. Although it is already pointed out that he is in illusion and makes mistakes, he will theorize, I think this is that, but he does not even know his own position. He writes books of philosophy, although he is defective. That is his disease. That is cheating. Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We are very proud of our eyes. Often someone will challenge, can you show me God? But do you have the eyes to see God? You will never see if you haven't the eyes. If immediately the room becomes dark, you cannot even see your hands. So what power do you have to see? We cannot therefore expect knowledge or Veda with these imperfect senses. With all these deficiencies in conditioned life, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone, nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are. You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. Our real identification is Varnashrama. Varna Ashrama denotes the followers of the Vedas, those who accept the human society in 8 divisions of Varnas and Ashramas. Varnas are material activities, and ashramas are the spiritual activities. So you have the material activities is those that maintain ourselves in a very limited way, not in an exorbitant way. And ashrama are spiritual activities. There are 4 divisions of society and 4 divisions of spiritual life. This is called Varna Ashrama. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, these divisions are everywhere because they are created by God. The divisions of society are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras. Brahmana refers to the very intelligent class of men or women, those who know what is Brahman. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, the administrative group, are the next intelligent class of men. Then the Vaishyas, the mercantile group. Then these natural classifications are found everywhere. This is the Vedic principle, and we accept it. Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. That is acceptance. So we said the word axiomatic means self-evident. Just like it's self-evident that everyone has a mother and father. It's self-evident that everyone was born and then everyone will get old and die. These are self-evident truths. You cannot argue against them, right? So that means axiomatic truths. So it says, Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. That is acceptance. For instance, in India, cow dung is accepted as pure, and yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. In one place, you'll find the Vedic injunction that if you touch stool, you have to take a bath immediately. But in another place, it is said that the stool of a cow is pure. Well, we can experience that right now. We have Ram Das here, and he passes stool here sometimes, you know, and the ladies or the men, they pick it up with their hand. Because the stool of a cow is actually pure. It has antiseptic qualities to it. So You see, the cow is a very special, uh, you know, creature. Uh, Krishna himself is a cowherd boy. He's with cows every day. He takes them out for pasture, to pasture, and he protects them. You see, so if you have a cow and you protect the cow, you become very, very dear to Krishna. In fact, we have about, I would say, 50 cows, maybe 60 cows. And we protect them. We're never going to kill them. We have a cow sanctuary. When the cow is not giving milk anymore, and the bulls, they go to our cow sanctuary in Arlington. And we protect them until they die naturally. This is Vedic culture. You don't kill cows and eat them. That's like the worst thing you can do. But yet, that's what people are doing. Even Indians, they're eating cow meat. And they're paying people to kill the cow and serve it to them. Even in India, in the land of Bharat, the land of Varnashram Dharma, you have cow killing now. It's unbelievable. That's why there's so much disturbance in life. Haribol. See, now here's a cow. He's sitting there very peacefully. His name is Ramdas. And he's just waiting for you to pet him. He loves to be petted. He's not creating a disturbance in any way. And he's very affectionate. He likes cuddles. He likes to be cuddled. There you go. You see, she's cuddling him. You see, so children, instead of having dogs, they should have cows. You see, you want to have a good pet, it should be a cow, not a dog. Some people have, snakes as pets. What's that? Who? Yeah. No, but look, he's such a gentle animal. Right. You can learn a lot of things by associating with a cow. You know. And by taking care of a cow, you'll be specially blessed by Krishna, because Krishna is a cowherd boy himself. He takes care of cows every day, takes them out to pasture every day, brings them back. He's always interested in the protection of his cows. Right? And he has hundreds and thousands, millions of cows. And they are exceptional cows also. But anyway, we have our Ramdas. We're very fortunate to have him. Of course, we have more cows at our farms. And the milk that we have from our cows, it's amazing milk. If you've never had the milk from our cows, you should definitely get it. It tastes wonderful. I drink it every day myself. I consider it a great blessing that I can drink cow milk from our cows that will never be killed. They're being protected. We have a cow sanctuary when they're no longer giving milk, and the bulls, they go to our cow sanctuary in Arlington, where we continue to feed them and care for them until they die naturally. See, we're not like these crazy people. They milk the cow for like 3-4 years, 3-4 times a day, and then they kill it and eat it. What kind of culture is that? That's the culture of the asuras, the nonsense people that have no understanding of what is right and wrong. But if you protect the cow, your whole life changes, and you will have, you'll have peace. You'll have, let's say, tranquility, and you'll have a successful life because you're not engaged in sinful activities. The most sinful activity is to kill a cow. What happens when you kill a cow and eat it? You'll take as many birds as there are hairs in the body of the cow. Now, if you want to count how many hairs on Rambal's body, you're going to see it's a huge number. So don't don't ever kill a cow. Don't ever eat a cow. Don't ever pay someone else to kill the cow and you eat it. It's a big mistake, and you will regret it. So why do we bring Ram Dass here? Because we should associate with cows. Krishna is a cowherd boy himself. He's associating with cows all day long. Right? So we should also associate with cows on a regular basis, and see, and see their gentleness and their exceptional qualities. And they have exceptional qualities. And we should drink cow's milk, the milk of the cow that's protected. Is a it's not just a milk. It's like a transcendental liquid, and you'll taste the difference. I mean, we sell a gallon of milk for $17. You can buy a gallon of milk like $4. Why are people willing to pay $17 for a gallon of milk or a himsa milk? Because it's a himsa milk. We never kill the cows. One. Two, we protect the cows with affection and love on our farms, and the cow reciprocates. The cow and the bull. We don't kill the bulls either. We have our sanctuary, cow sanctuary in Arlington for the cows that are not being milked anymore because they're too old, and our bulls, so that they can die naturally. What do the dairymen do in America? They milk the cows like 3, 4, 5 years, then they kill them and eat them. That's why there's so many problems in this country. That's why there's so much violence in this world. They're doing this all over the world. They even do it in India now. I can't believe it. They actually do it in India also. India has become one of the most maybe number 3 or 4 exporter of cow meat. The land of Bharat, the land of the Sanatan Dharma, is engaged in cow killing. How did that happen? It happened because of modern education. When you go to the schools where they teach modern education based on you only live once, and when you die, there's nothing. That's what they teach in school. You only live once. Do they teach you have an eternal soul in school? I don't know. Were any of you taught in school that you have an eternal soul? No. Let's see. Sir, let me ask you. Did they teach you in school? Did they teach you in school that you have an eternal soul? No? Yes? No? No. And you were brought up in India, the land of Sanatan Dharma. The land that normally should protect cows, right? But they kill cows today. This is very dangerous, this type of culture, where, by the way, there's no difference between a Muslim and a Hindu now. The Hindus also eat meat, and the Muslims eat meat. Before the Muslims, they would conquer people, especially in India, and the first thing they'd do is feed that person meat. Or if there's a Hindu that converts to Islam, the first thing they do is give that person meat, because they know Hindus traditionally don't eat meat. That means that they've become a Muslim now because they're a meat eater. Of course, now there's no difference in the Muslims and the many Hindus, because many Hindus eat meat. This is a deterioration of Sanatan Dharma, serious deterioration. That's why we bring the cow here to see, can you imagine killing that animal and eating it? It's unbelievable. It's such a gentle animal, right? If you want to kill somebody, kill a dog. or snake. Now, snake meat is becoming very, very popular now. They get these pythons. The pythons are really big and they're really fat like that, and they take the skin off, and now they're selling python meat. It has a lot of protein. Right? This is how crazy society has become. Right? Or another thing they do for protein now is they have these cockroach farms, and they kill the cockroaches and they fry them, and then they powder them, and they give the powder a name like AC35 or something like that, and they sell it as high protein. You see, they don't say cockroach protein. They give some other name for it. See? This is what's going on today. It's unbelievable, and people are accepting it. Oh, it's high protein. Okay, good. I'll eat it. We have to become dharmic in everything we do, and especially in what we eat. You are what you eat. And if you begin to eat sinful things, you will become a sinful person. Now, where do kids learn? They go to school, and you send your kids to school, and what does your kids see? Your kids sees the American kids eating meat. Is that right? So what does that do? That, at some point your kid's going to say to you, Mom, how come we don't eat meat? Well, we don't eat meat because we protect the cow and this and that. But how come everybody else eats meat at school? They have a right to think like that. How come they're all eating meat and I'm not eating meat? And they ask me, why don't you eat meat? Are you sick? They say things like that. Right? So sending them to those schools is a big mistake. I wouldn't send my kids to those schools. Why? Because just the fact that the other kids are going to eat meat in front of your kid as if it's a normal thing is very, very bad. Very, very bad. Just seeing it is sinful. Just seeing someone eat meat is sinful act. So we should protect our children by keeping them away from bad association. In fact, Lord Chaitanya says, how do you recognize a Vaishnava? Asat Sangha e Tyaga. A Vaishnava is someone who avoids the association of materialistic people. People that eat meat, engage in illicit sex, etc. That's how you recognize a Vaishnava. Asat Sangha, a Vaishnava Prachar. So, we should avoid the association of sinful people. Now, how do you do that? You can say, well, how can I do that? I'm working in this company and everybody's eating meat and drinking coffee and talking nonsense, and Christmas time they give you a bottle of whiskey as a present. I've gotten about when I was doing my business, I would always be getting these bottles of whiskey. Right? So, and one time this one man came and said, I want to give you a present. I said, okay. He pulls out a bottle of whiskey and gives it to me. I said, I gave it back to him. He said, what's the matter? Are you sick? I said, no, I'm not sick. I don't drink liquor. And I'm not going to be able to, I don't accept this as a present. It's actually sinful. He thought I was crazy because it was an expensive bottle of whiskey. I said, I don't care how much it costs. I'm not going to touch it. In fact, Srila Prabhupada said, there's no river long enough to purify a glass of wine. There's no river on the earth long enough to purify one glass of wine, or one glass that's, been touched by wine. Wow, that means it's a very sinful thing to drink, wine. But yet, people are, they're buying wine, and they think it's like one of the best things in the world, you know. And on the other hand, Prabhupada said that there's no river long enough to wash a glass of wine. In other words, to purify it. That's how contaminating it is. So here we have two cultures. One's called Krishna consciousness and one's called Asura consciousness. Which culture are we going to follow? That's the main question we have to ask ourselves. Which culture are we going to follow? Now, if we follow the Asura consciousness or culture, the Asuras, they say, you only live once, and when you die, there's nothing. That means there's no reincarnation, there's no karma, nothing like that. Right? Therefore, just engage in as much sense gratification as you can get in this life. Eat, sleep, and be merry, for tomorrow we shall die. This is their theory. Right? But on the other hand, if you have an immortal soul and you actually never die, only the body dies, and your body, their next body is determined by the consciousness of what you've eaten and what you've seen and what you've done, then there's a huge question of big responsibility. Because you can't say, well, I didn't know. Yes, you know. You know that you don't just live once, that you have an eternal soul. And you're going to get a body based on what you've done and what you've eaten. What you've eaten, that's also going to determine the next body that you get. So if you eat a lot of meat, you see this cow, you eat cow meat, you'll take birth and be slaughtered as many times as there are hairs in the body of the cow. Now here's a cow right here, if you want to count the hairs. I don't know, I think maybe it's like, I don't know, 10,000, you know. Huh? What's that? Millions. Maybe millions, yeah, as the cow gets bigger. So, you see, there's ignorance everywhere today. You know, all the people that claim to be intelligent, they're actually ignorant. You know, they're talking about this thing, that thing, you know, AI and this and that, but they're eating cows and they're ruining their lives and the lives of others by doing that. Okay, so I'll stop right there. Now you have the Ishopanishad in your hand. You have to give it back to me. But every day now we're going to talk about Ishopanishad and read Ishopanishad. This is a very important book. It's a short book, but it's chock full of knowledge. The whole Vedic knowledge is in this little book, Ishopanishad. And it's supposed to, because Ishopanishad means Isho Upanisha, coming closer to God, Upanisha. By reading this book, you come closer and closer to God. And it's a short book. It's not a long, big book like that. So I like it very much. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, comment. All right, go ahead. Comments first. Go ahead. What?
Somebody gave you whiskey, Maharaj?
Yeah, yeah.
Costco gives turkey for Thanksgiving.
You get turkey. Yeah.
All that price.
Yeah, but I throw the whiskey away. What do you do with the turkey?
They give it to employees. I don't know why.
You what?
Costco gives the turkeys to employees.
Yeah, I know. But what do you do with the turkey? What?
They kill the turkey and give it.
No, but what do you do with the turkey?
We don't take it.
You don't take it. Yeah, that's good. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why in this day and age it's easier to kill another
Why is it easier to kill a life? Well, what life you talking about? You talking about cows or human beings? Well, okay, then tell me how many people you've killed already. Right. Well, me too. Well, even if you just eat a tomato, you're killing a life. Okay? But you're permitted to kill a tomato. You're not permitted to kill an animal and eat it. You know. So who's making these decisions? This is Sanatan Dharma. And the tomato is also a living being. Right? But it's permitted, according to the Vedas, you can eat vegetables, but it's not permitted to eat animals. Right? So, just like a soldier, he gets a gun, and it's permitted that the soldier can kill an enemy in a fair fight, right? According to the rules of war. But if the same soldier kills somebody on the street, they put him in jail. So you have to eat something. So it's limited to vegetables and fruits and milk, right? And it's prohibited to eat flesh and liquor and things like that. Okay, yeah. That's sinful also. Yes, yes. You should only eat prasadam. Yeah. You come to the temple. Listen to the classes. Do some seva. Pet Ram Dass. You'll get away from it. Yeah. That's why we bring Ram Dass. You going to eat a cow now after seeing Ram Dass? No, but I mean, even for kids, the fact that they can associate with a cow and see how gentle the cow is, and then all of a sudden they go to school and in the lunch they put a piece of meat in their dish. Are they going to eat that meat? Many kids will refuse after having seen the cow. That's why we bring Ram Dass. We want to educate our children to live a life free of sinfulness. Free of sinfulness. Like one day, in my backyard, my daughter and the neighbor's child were playing, and the neighbor's child brought a container of lighter fluid and was putting the lighter fluid liquid in an ant hole and setting it on fire and killing the ants. So I noticed that. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm killing the ants." I said, "You can't do that." And then she started crying and ran to her mother. And her mother ran, came over and said, "Well, why did you make my child cry?" I said, "I didn't make her cry. I was trying to educate her that you don't pour lighter fluid." I said, "By the way, where did she get the lighter fluid from?" I said, she could burn herself, she could set a dress on fire, right? Why are you letting your child have a lighter fluid and setting ants on fire? I said, "I trying to educate your child." And then she was like quiet. Because what's the child doing with lighter fluid and then setting it on fire and trying to burn the ants? I mean, she could burn herself like that very easily. So we should not be intimidated by people who have practices that are definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. So burning little ants with lighter fluid was definitely wrong and dangerous, because lighter fluid, it explodes easily. It can hurt the kid for a lifetime. Right? So we should not be intimidated by neighbors or whatever. And our kids should be protected to live a life that is sattvic, no sinful activity. And sins are eating meat, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, including coffee and tea. Including coffee and tea. They're also counted as intoxicants. And watching pornographic things, and in general just nonsense things like movies, and so forth. We have to protect our kids. Like, for example, if some person knocks on your door and you look through that little hole in your door to see who it is, and it's some person that looks like, really rough, and then they say, "Open the door." Would you open the door? No. But as soon as you open a television, you see 10, 20, 30 people like that. They're coming into your house through the television. People that you wouldn't let into the house, you see. But through the television, they're coming into your house. And you're seeing, in the television, the entertainment is you're seeing one guy choke someone else to death like that. Blah. Right? And that's called entertainment. That's not entertainment. That's a horrible thing to watch people shooting each other. And by the way, it's very interesting, the people say, not the people, the politicians say, we gotta get rid of the guns. It's very bad. Guns are very bad. But yet, all the movies, there are guns, right? So why don't they get rid of the guns in the movies first? No, they won't stop that. You see, it's a double standard. So all around us, there's this double standard, especially with the politicians. The politicians, they're always telling us to do this and do that, but then they get caught cheating and lying and stealing money and things like that. So who are these people? They're not qualified to be politicians. If you're going to be a politician, you have to be like Chanakya Pandit. You have to be a pundit, someone who doesn't eat meat, doesn't have illicit sex, doesn't gamble, and is not interested in materialism. They're genuine pundits, so therefore they can help people. But nowadays, people have all the bad qualities. In fact, I was watching this one video of Modi. So he was in some kind of celebration, and they gave him a glass of wine, right? So he held it up like this, and yeah, it was next to the Prime Minister of France, and then they touched their wine glass to each other, right? And then the French guy drank his, and then Modi put his down. He didn't drink it. He just went like this, put his hand up like that with the wine and touched the French guy's wine glass, and the French guy drank it, and he just put it down like that. So, yeah, I mean, if he doesn't pick it up and touch the other guy's glass, it's like an insult, right? But he didn't drink it. He did the right thing. He just put it back down, you know. So he's a pretty good person. I mean, he's a brahmachari. He's not married. He might have been married one time, but yes.
Some insect or something.
What?
Some insect was crawling.
There's an insect, like maybe crawled up my leg or something. I don't know. That's all right. We don't want to kill anything in the temple. Yeah, so Modi, he picked up his wine glass, and touched the French guy's wine glass, and then he just put it down, didn't drink it. So, yeah. It's very difficult to live in this society the way it is now. Very, very difficult. But if you follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, you will not get contaminated. Even though we're living in a contaminated culture, you will not get contaminated. Now, the next question is, can you save your children from getting contaminated? Ah, that's a big question. Big, big question. So, to do that, Asat Sangha Tyaga E Vaishnava Achar. How do you recognize a real sadhu? Sadhus always avoid the association of unholy people. So you send your kid to a school where most of the kids are all unholy. That's a red flag right there. So you have to think about it seriously. Send your kid where they're going to be associating with other kids that eat meat and think it's just fine to do it. And they talk about sex and they, bully. And then the curriculum is full of nonsense things. I don't know if it's a good idea to send them to school. I really don't think so, because Asat Sangha Tyaga E Vaishnava Char. How do you recognize a Vaishnava? Vaishnava avoids the association of unholy people. There you are. Now, you might work with unholy people, but you don't sit down and watch them eat meat. You don't listen to them tell you about their recent vacation where they went to Las Vegas and they won a lot of money gambling and things like that. You don't accept to hear those things. You just do your work honestly. You give the deliverables and you go home and chant Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop right there unless there's another question. Yes, go ahead, Mataji. Yes. Material energy. No, consciousness is coming from the soul, not from the mind, etc. It's coming from the soul. Yeah, right. It doesn't have any consciousness. Well, what's conscious? Wait a minute. What's conscious is the soul, and it's giving consciousness to the mind or whatever. Right? So when the mind becomes, full of sinful ideas, then it becomes contaminated. Okay? So, therefore, what is your question now?
So mind, to me, it felt like a mind is mind has consciousness because if it is material nature, material is jada vastu. It's just like it doesn't
The
have.
consciousness is coming from the soul. Now, when the you associate with bad people, you watch movies, this thing, that thing, all of a sudden all that goes into your mind and it corrupts your vision and thoughts, and therefore, but your soul is always pure, but it can get covered. Just like, let's say you have a gold ring and you're in the bathroom, you know. So, after you clean yourself a little bit, your ring falls off into the toilet. What are you going to do? What? Put the hand in and pick it up, right? Yeah, and then wash your hand and wash your ring, right? So in the same way, we might get contaminated by bad association, but we have an eternal soul. So therefore, if you associate with genuine sadhus, you get purified. And you engage in devotional service, you'll get purified. You shouldn't say, well, I'm contaminated now, so I may as well, stay like this for the rest of my life. No. You can very easily get purified by having the right association.
So mind is definitely material.
What's that?
Mind is definitely material.
Yes. Yes. But it can be contaminated. But not your soul. Your soul is always pure, but it can be covered. Just like when your ring falls into the toilet, it gets covered, right? But you can put your hand in there and take your ring out, wash your hand, wash the ring, put it back on your finger, and it's clean. So in the same way, your mind is eternal. It's spiritual. It's not a material thing. So it can never be corrupted, but it can be covered. And you can clean that cover by regularly chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you chant every day, then Krishna will protect you. This chanting is very important. You should do 16 minimum good rounds every day. And offer your food. So if you just do those two things, offer your food, cook it, and offer it to Krishna, and only vegetarian food, and chant your rounds, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, then you will be saved of the contamination that's all around us.
So Maharaj, with our spiritual, fully self-realized spiritual identity, mind, intelligence, false ego, that it purifies into the spiritual aspect and it continues with the soul.
Well, right now the mind, intelligence, false ego, they're contaminations, right? Now, I remember when I was not, a member of ISKCON, my mind, my intelligence, my false ego was completely contaminated, engaging in all kinds of sinful activities. But when I started associating with devotees and reading Prabhupada's books, I realized, wait a minute, I'm doing the wrong thing. I can't continue like this, And I started chanting, and then eventually, I met Srila Prabhupada. That convinced me, I should completely dedicate my life to Krishna consciousness and help Srila Prabhupada. Not that he needs my help, but be part of the movement So it was a gradual process, you know, of cleaning my mind and my body of this contamination by always eating prasadam and always chanting Hare Krishna and always associating with devotees, right? And here I still am here, 55 years later, chanting and dancing and so forth. So the association of devotees, you know, is most important thing. Because if you associate with devotees, you will also chant. You will also follow the regulative principles. And if you associate a little bit with devotees, a little bit with nonsense people, you will be nonsense. It'll be, you know, mixed. It'll be kitchery. Yeah. Okay, so it's 9:10. So we will stop there. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. You can give back to Ishopanishads, and every time now we'll read a little bit from the Ishopanishad. You know, it's full of nectar. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Maharaji, today morning I saw you in dream. 4 a.m.
You were having a nightmare.
No, 4 a.m. I awake and again I slept at like 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. I saw in the temple and downstairs. We are going and many brahmachari is also doing some aarti like that. And I'm also, my we are also going with that.
मजे कर रहे थे
You invite us, you are going for the Muslim temple, you are
going for the class